Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. You know what? Let's just start with Alexis and Julian because here's the thing. She comes in Julian's bar and she starts drinking, and Julian is like, yo, she's done. And of course, at this point, he says to Alexis, either you came here for help or you came here to pick a fight. Clearly, this woman chose to pick a fight because that's exactly what she did. And I am very, you know what, I'm just going to come out and say it because I'm sitting there like debating on how hard I should sit there and go on Alexis, but I'm like, you know what, F it. Let's just take it all away. I felt that this angry, pity party, self-loathing way that she was going about it just got on my nerves. Like, here's the thing, and I'm trying to be fair to Alexis because she's going through a lot. And this is one of those things where it's like, alcohol affects people differently. But, it's just bringing out everything. All the anger and the hate and just everything about each person that she comes in contact with, clearly. And Julian, she really went off on him. And here's the thing, I'm not sitting there saying that Julian didn't deserve what Alexis was saying to an extent, because he's done some stuff to her. But, her coming out of her mouth talking about he's a Cancer and she can't wait to the day that she doesn't have to sit there and cross paths with him. I was like, Jesus Christ, lady. I mean, she keeps bringing up, and this is something that just annoys the living life out of me, and I'm trying not to curse, but she keeps bringing up, you held a knife to me. You held a knife to me. Are we just revisiting, I can't pronounce the word, but is she just doing a revision on history? Because the last time I checked was the reason why he held a knife to her throat was because somebody was planning on killing one of his sons, and seeing how Lucas almost died the last time he disobeyed an order from that certain someone. Leo was next target. He had to play along. But everyone just keeps on just conveniently forgetting that fact. God, that is getting annoying. And, she's like, oh, you had a knife to my throat. I was like, oh, God, not this again. And she just goes off, and she's like, I'm blaming you for this, I'm blaming you for that, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that Julian didn't play his part in blowing up both of Alexis and Neil's life as far as getting them fired and, leading to, there's a cause and effect. So I understand the way she's sitting there trying to look at it. The problem is that people make choices. If he chose to do drugs and overdose, that's on him. Things happen and you make choices and you live with the consequences of your reactions. So you can't sit there and say, oh, well, this person did this to me and it led me down to this path. And because of that, I don't know, knocked some person off the bike and now their leg is gone or something like that. And if it wasn't for... No. People make choices. So her whole, I'm blaming you for this, that, and the third, it's like, I get it. Alexis is going through a lot. So part of me is like, I get it. You got to vent on someone, and it is what it is. But at the same time, like, I'm just over it. Like, go take your pity party somewhere else. Because when she came out of her mouth and was like, well, I don't need your help. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Whose bar did you actually come into? You came into his bar and you're basically sitting there telling him to go and F off and I don't need your help. So Julian's like, okay, you know what? The door's right there. Walk right through it. Like, you came to his bar and you had the audacity to sit there and tell him that you didn't need his help. There's all sorts of bars that she could have went to. She could have drunk by herself, drink by herself, and she chose to come to his bar. Like, are you kidding me? So, to sit there and say that I didn't have issues with Alexis in this episode is an understatement. Let's just get something out the way. Jason, Sam, and Spinelli. Here's the thing about them. Their scenes were damn near entirely pointless. All they did was talk about Peter and, Spinelli just going through his feelings of why Anna can't see this and, we gotta sit there and stop Peter before the baby's born. I was like, bro, we done been through this. Now, I get it. This is for new people that are coming into this show that's probably watching it for the first time, so sometimes you kind of got to do a refresher for any new people. I get it. But for people that have been watching this scene, all those scenes were exactly pointless. They were pointless. They just recapped everything that was going on about their plan to sit there and track and stop Peter. And they mentioned Drew. Because for some odd reason, they forget that Drew was a character and was Jason's brother. And I get that he's not going to shed any tears, but Jesus Christ, Sam, could you pretend to actually be sad a little bit? I mean, you did love the guy at one point. I know you thought he was Jason, but I mean, there was something there. You have a child by him, and she barely mentions him. Man, they really did that man dirty. With that being said, their whole scenes were practically pointless, except for the fact that, Sam started having issues with Jason as far as keeping certain things. And not the business part, but just like when Spinelli was there saying, oh, well, I found this, I found a third or whatever, and Jason knew about it, and Sam was like, I'm sorry, when would you plan on telling me this? And at first I was like, but then I remembered, when Sam was like, listen, Spinelli is my friend, Maxie is my friend. You gotta keep me in the loop because this doesn't just affect you, this affects me. And Jason was like, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. There's really nothing else to that. I mean, he admitted he was wrong and he said he'll do better. That's how, sometimes issues get resolved just when you talk about it. I say that in hindsight because in 2020, honestly, tell you the truth, I'm just kind of going off tangent. My point is that they had a problem, they fixed it, and besides that, their whole scenes were pointless. Robert paid Jackie a visit to try to get her, to recruit her on his side, and Jackie was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do it my way, and if Peter is wrong and he's doing nefarious things, I'm gonna sit there and expose him. And that's that. Stop asking me. And then she talked to Peter, and then she gets done with the phone, and she's like, well, that's how it's done. And I was like, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're actually going to be working, you're trying to uncover Peter's plan, or is that just a way to be sarcastic as far as like, Robert, mind your damn business, go somewhere else. Like, stop asking me 24/7 about Peter, because it's not going to happen. So I don't know what that was about. I don't think it was a success as far as what Robert was actually trying to do with, getting Jackie on his side. Speaking of that, let's talk about Anna and Finn. So, Anna's whole plan is to try to get genetic markers from Faison's brain to see if he has some sort of disease that I can't remember. Parkinson's or something. Rheumatoid arthritis, I think. I think that's what it was. Some sort of gene. And if he has it, then it's like only a 50-50 chance of, like, they don't, at least it's better odds. So, like, if Faison doesn't have the gene, and she doesn't have the gene, that means that Alex has the gene. And that means that, Peter is Alex's, mother and son or whatever. So the idea is that they're going to sit there and try to get into the lab, where Kevin's at and, run these tests. Of course, they get there. They pick the lock. They're scrounging around in the dark because they can't see anything. And then Kevin comes back and he's like, so, how are you doing in my lab? And of course, they try to spin some sort of story like, she was dizzy and, she was doing tests and stuff like that. And, Kevin's like, yeah, okay. So, I like the door. And, funny thing is that, you guys got in, which is weird because I could have swore I locked the door. And so at this point, Anna's like, you know what, Peter, just go and, do something. Finn, just go and do something because he's clearly caught on, a couple minutes away beforehand. He knows what's up, so let me just kind of talk to him. And she kind of breaks down the reason, a little bit of why she's there, and, questions being unanswered, and she talks about Peter, and, I don't know if he's my child or not, and I need answers. So, I don't think that Kevin can actually do anything. There's some sort of legal stuff that's going on, legal jargon that's going on, where even if he wanted to sit there and help out Anna, he couldn't because Faison donate his body or it's legal something with Peter, and he can't do it because it violates some sort of law. But I mean, as you know, in Port Charles, when it comes towards laws and HIPAA, I mean, those things can be violated at any point in time. So I guess we'll find out what's going on tomorrow. Now, Dante and Maxie have a good catching up session. They talk about, she talks about the kids, and just life in general, and everything is going well. And two, she mentions the fact that she's getting married to Peter, and she's having this baby. And Dante's like, I'm sorry, what? So they go back and forth, because Dante's like, yo, I don't trust Peter. I think he's a bad person, and what the hell are you doing? And of course, Maxie gets defensive, and she's like, all right, you two, I'm not sitting there dealing with this from you, Lulu, and whoever else. I'm just not having it. And then Dante brings up Nathan, and it's like, oh, did you ever love Nathan? What would Nathan think? And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, you did not just bring up Nathan's name. You did not just throw up her dead husband in her face as a, way to kind of get her to see the light of day with Peter. And that backfired. And, I mean, Dante did apologize for that, but it was one of those things where it's like, I get it, you're going through, you're still suffering from PSD. Wow, I can't even think of that for a minute. I get that he's suffering through PSD or whatever. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. I'm pretty sure it's PTSD. He's still suffering through that, so it's like maybe his choice of words would not have came out as far as his tact goes if, he wasn't 100% Dante, I guess. But, still, what the hell. So, they talk a little bit, they kind of calm down, and, Dante's like, listen, at the end of the day, Nathan just wants you happy, I want you happy, I want you safe, I don't think he's a good dude, but, and that's when Lulu comes in. Now, Lulu was having a, we might as well just call this a session, because that's literally what it was with Kevin. She went downstairs to give him food, and really, she just came there for advice to sit there and try to figure out what she should do as far as her love life with Dustin and Dante, and just kind of sorting it out. And long story short, Kevin was just like, listen, you don't have to do this all in one day. And Lulu was like, I don't? I can't believe she actually said that. That's what I'm sitting there thinking in my head. When Kevin was like, you don't have to sort this out, today, tonight. It's, give yourself some time and some space. And she was like, I don't? No, you don't. And I'm you don't. I can't, just a dumb moment from her. Like, what? But anyway, she gets some sound advice or whatever, and then she goes to the floating rib, I guess, to meet Maxie and Peter, and she didn't know that Dante was there, so now they're standing there like star-crossed lovers or whatever, and just looking at each other, and you know, they say some things as far as like time moving forward, and you know, what are the odds, this, that, and third. But I really feel like they're gonna really get into it in the next episode, so that should be good. One second. Okay, that's it. I really just want to make sure that I kind of got everyone, because I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I love GH, but when it comes towards structure and stuff, and I've said this before, Days was just so much. It's more condensed. It's the best way I can sit there and describe it. So when I'm doing Days, I know that there's probably like maybe 2 stories the most. But with this, you got a bunch of people, and I'm just like, did I make sure I get that person right? So sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I think I'm good. I think there was only one time that I actually forgot somebody, and that was Finn and Anna, and I did a separate story on them. Just because I literally forgot that they were in the episode, and plus, I'm not going to lie, my notes in the beginning was not that great. So, yeah. But with that being said, I know this came out super late, so I appreciate anyone that's actually watching it now. But if you're watching this tomorrow, really appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Every now and then, I'm probably going to sit there and drop one of these. If you can share the video, that would really help as far as, you know, sharing it to new people that may not know about the channel, to kind of help it grow, because eventually, I do want to get into a position, and I'm ranting right now, so you can just kind of stop it if you want. Eventually, I do want to get into a position when I'm actually just doing this, like when I'm actually making a paycheck, and I'm doing this more than I'm doing my first job, because, well, I have fun doing this. And even though it's work, it doesn't feel like work. And you know what they say about if you enjoy what you do, or if you enjoy your work, it doesn't really feel like work, or something like that. So, when I sit there and ask people to share it sometimes, it's like, I don't do that often, because, I'm not gonna lie, that just sounds annoying coming from other YouTubers, especially when it's in every single video. But if you could do it every now and then, really would appreciate it. With that being said, let me know what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think of Alexis? Do you feel for her? Are you kind of annoyed at this point with the self-loathingness? I mean, I get it. She's going through a lot, and I don't want to sit there and try to minimize what she's going through. But I feel like going to other people's bars, in particular, to sit there and, you know, trash them and whatever, and then blame them for everything, like it's all their fault, and she didn't make any choices of her own. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of getting a little annoying, to an extent. Just as a viewer, I'm trying to see it from both sides. So, let me know what you think in the comment section. Be safe. I will catch you in tomorrow's review.